Howdy folks, welcome to Plumbing with Tim. Today we are on location in beautiful Melbourne Beach, Florida. Okay, so we're out here on Melbourne Beach in East Central Florida on the Atlantic coast, little seaside town, and we're at $1 million house. And this lady has Kohler lowboy toilets. They're the one piece. I think the manufacturing date I seen on it was 2003. She's saying that they're both running. I've taken a look at one of them. One of the flappers is definitely bad on it, but I don't have that flapper on me. It's a standard size flapper, but the dog ears are wider because the inside of the tank, the flush valve that holds the flapper is rectangular, which means the dog ears on the flapper are actually wider than the standard flapper. So what we're going to do on the second toilet upstairs is we're going to do a dye test inside of the tank. We're going to find out and make sure, because when I call the order in to get the parts, I want to make sure that I need two and not just one. All right, so we got a Kohler lowboy one-piece toilet, as you can see here. And this thing, the lady said, is running. See what's back inside of there. It's probably a flapper. We're going to do a dye test on this thing, and we're going to wait and see if that water shows up down inside the bowl. All right, so you just saw me put some tracing dye into the back of the toilet. If you don't have any of that, food coloring will work just fine. We're gonna let this sit for about 10-15 minutes and take a look when we come back in to see if the water has changed color into the bowl. That way we can decide whether it is indeed a flapper or in fact it may be the fill valve. The reason why I'm not just changing the flapper, because this is Kohler lowboy made in 2003, one piece, and I don't have the flapper on my van. So I need to find out and get it called in so they can send me one out. We'll be back. Okay, so how I want to demonstrate this before we go back in and we're giving it time for the dye test to set up and all that stuff is the difference when it comes to these kind of flappers. And Kohler doesn't just make every flapper the same way. So let's take a look and I'll show you a little demonstration here. This right here is a standard size toilet flapper. You can see there's the ball, there's the dog ears, there's the chain and stuff. That's standard. Well, the toilet that we're going to be working on does have the standard size, which I believe is what, 2.5, but the dog ears are wider. Now let's take a look at a couple of the Kohler flappers here. First one we're going to show you is a Kohler. This is a 3-inch ball on here, 3-4-inch ball. I'm not really sure. I'd have to look at it. But anyways, as you can see, the dog ears are pretty much the same size as a standard one. See, but that's wider. That's for a larger flush valve. What we need though is another Kohler that's like this. See that? It's got the wider dog ears that's going to fit over the rectangular flush valve. However, this isn't going to work for me because this is also a large size, not the smaller size ball. Smaller ball with larger dog ears. That's why we have to make sure that we're calling for 2 of these and not just one. Now, genuine Kohler made parts usually are pretty good. If you flip over the back of the package on a Kohler made flapper package, it tells you what kind of models and stuff and parts. And if you look closely underneath where the 3 illustrations of the toilets are, they're going to have a model number. And you're going to find that model number generally stamped inside the back of the tank. So when I go back inside, I'm going to point that out to you. That way, if you have to replace one of these flappers, you're going to have the right information instead of having to make 3 or 4 trips till you get the right one. Okay, moral of this story so far is even me as a plumber that works for a company that is also a supply house, call to try to get the right flapper sent out, and it's the wrong one. Kohler makes so many different parts. You need to make sure the best way to find out what part that is, usually Kohler's pretty good. When you take the tank lid off, look on the back of there in the small diagram that's got part numbers on there. This is what they sent me, and I'll show you the old flapper that needs to be replaced. There is what came out of this toilet. If you look closely, it's a regular size, but see how the dog ears angle out like that? This is what they sent me. All right, they do not angle out. And plus they have a funky little ball in there that's got styrofoam in there. So this isn't gonna work either. So we had to hunt it down. I got the part number off the back of the toilet tank lid, and they're sending it out to us so we can complete this repair. Kohler's pretty good at putting the models and illustrations of the toilets that these particular flappers will fit. After carbon dating and finding out the numbers off the toilet, this indeed is a Kohler Rosario, the 3434. And I need that particular flapper. All right, they'll also fit these models, and as you can all see that they have something in common. They're all one piece, but look at how many different toilets. Now on this other one, it shows different models, and you can see the different numbers that are on there. So these aren't going to work. I found out that this is indeed a Kohler Rosario, and I have to have that particular flapper. God, that thing's in bad shape. Look at it. It's all wrought. No wonder it was running. It's got to have that angled dog ear at a regular standard size. We got the right flapper. See, it's got the angled dog ears on there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to replace this. And I'll show you how to find these part numbers on the back of the toilet tank lid. All right, so there you go. There's that funky flapper. It's put in the proper way. Let's go ahead and flush it. Right there is that diagram that I was talking to you about. Number for the flapper. And all the rest of the parts. Can't find it here. Look for it being stamped up in here somewhere. And that's how you're going to find your parts. Not that. That, or if you're lucky, you get a diagram on the back of the toilet tank lid. So I hope you guys learned a little bit of something about the Kohler toilets and the parts today. And generally speaking, when it comes to flappers in general and stuff, come to find out, at the end of this video, I had to do flappers on both the toilets, one upstairs and one downstairs. They looked identical, but guess what? They weren't. The one upstairs actually took this flapper, and that is the San Rafael toilet. It looks identical to the Rosario, which took this flapper. Big difference. See the difference in the dog ears, how they're angled out and stuff? And this doesn't really have a ball. It's just a little nub that's got styrofoam in it. Make sure when you're going to be working on these toilets and looking for parts to find those serial numbers in the back of the tank. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Till next time, it's been Plumbing with Tim. Keep plumbing.